What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pick 6 channel. So, let's just talk about it. The Pittsburgh Steelers. It is going to be an interesting offseason. I am going to keep my eyes and ears open for it for the Steelers. A lot of things that can go the Steelers' way, a lot of things that could not go the Steelers' way. It just depends on what the Steelers decide to do. Now, the first order of business is obviously offensive coordinator. Steelers had just a terrible offense, man. Just a terrible offense. Just take away the last three, or even if you want to say against Buffalo too, they actually didn't look too bad against the Bills. It was really just costly turnovers. But as far as pushing the ball down the field, they weren't doing too bad. But for the rest of the season, for the weeks prior, it was just terrible. The team just wasn't going down the field. And with three different quarterbacks in the season, or you know what? I'm not going to bring in the quarterback situation yet. Okay? Now it's just offensive coordinator. I'm glad it looks like they're actually shopping around, seeing, hey man, like who could we actually get as the OC? Because seasons prior, when they have been shopping for a OC, it just seems like they just got someone in house. It's what happened with Canada. I don't know the situation for Randy Finkner, but they definitely weren't shopping around for an offensive coordinator when when they got Matt Canada. So it is relieving the fact that it looks like they're actually going out and looking for one. You know, some pretty big names too. One of the ones that I would like them to get is Byron Leftwich. He's been a successful offensive coordinator. I don't really know too much about uh the coaches and their schemes or anything like that, or who would be a great offensive coordinator. But look, man, I just want this to work out because the Steelers haven't had a good offensive coordinator since Bruce Arians, which has been since what, 2010, 2011. So, I mean, we'll just see. I hope they get the right person for the job. Byron Leftwich should be on the top of that list. Should he be number one? I don't know, but we'll see how that turns out, man. Next, the quarterback position. This is an interesting one as well, okay? Because this is pretty much your future for the team. So, for one, Kenny Pickett. Does anybody still believe that Kenny Pickett is the guy? Honestly, guys, look, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think he is. I doubt it. Does he deserve another chance? Yeah, possibly. But it just depends on who you sign or what's going on in the offseason, because I feel like he needs to compete for the job. Because he was getting outplayed by his quarterback 3. Mr. Trubisky, he's done. He's done. You need to let him walk. Just release him. Release him. There's no reason why he should even be on the team. I mean, the Steelers have gave him chances and he just hasn't performed well. I think he only has like 2 or 3 wins as a Steeler. I think only 2. One of them being his very first game as a Steeler, the other one against the Carolina Panthers. So, when they were in the full rebuilding stage, well, I guess they still are, but you get the point. So, are you convinced that Kenny Pickett is the guy? Me personally, no, I'm not. Okay, the best game that he had was against the Cincinnati Bengals, where the Steelers scored 16 points. The best game he had this season. Last year, I think the best game he had was against the Browns, the last game of the year. But here's the problem. Here's my takeaway. It's like, yes, the offensive schemes were just not good with Matt Canada. because he just wasn't a good offensive coordinator. We all know that. But it's like there was really never any progression there. It just, if anything, it seemed like there was a bit of a decline in progression his second season, which is not a good sign. You know, one of the takeaways that I could say are like, hey man, the guy's pretty clutch, but excuse me, as you've seen, as you saw in the Browns game, it's like, okay, you played bad the entire game. Okay, offense isn't looking good the entire game, and then you just hopefully the defense keeps you in the game for the last drive, and hopefully you actually do something that last drive. It's like that's not gonna happen every single time. That's not a recipe to win. You have to be consistent, not just, oh, well, we're playing bad for 3 quarters and let's turn it around in the fourth quarter. Like that's not gonna win you football games. But that is the one takeaway from his game that I could say, like, the guy's been pretty clutch for the Steelers. That is pretty much it. Because the numbers aren't good. The touchdown to interception ratio isn't all that great. I mean, I think he only had, what, like 7 touchdowns or something like that? I don't even think he had the numbers weren't good. Okay? The numbers were not good. They haven't really been good. But like I said, it's not like the position he was in wasn't all that great either. He's got the weapons. He's got the running back, tight end, O-line. You need to build on that. A few pieces. Mason Cole, I don't know if you want to keep him. I would doubt they would keep him. But yeah, that was really the system, man. The Matt Canada system just wasn't good. But I'm still not convinced that he's the guy. Only because of the next candidate, Mason Rudolph. Okay? This one, I could be a little bit more confident in if he walks into next season as the quarterback one. Simply because he just looks confident out there, man. He's comfortable in the pocket, typically goes through his reads. And he was playing some good ball, man. I get against the Bills, he did throw a costly interception in the end zone, but I mean, he didn't look terrible. At least I don't think he did. He actually had a pretty decent game. Very slow start, but I mean, it was his first postseason game. He was starting his first postseason game, which, I mean, there were certain flaws with other players on the team, and it showed because of potentially just a lack of experience, fumbling, things of that nature. So, I mean, Mason Rudolph, if he's the quarterback one next season, I'm okay with that. Okay? But there are other options that could potentially be better. But if they just decide to re-sign Mason Rudolph, I'm not going to complain too much because I feel like he's proven himself. I feel like he has earned the right to be quarterback one for the Pittsburgh Steelers after what we saw the past 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks of the season. So I believe he's earned a spot. Me personally, I don't think it should be a competition between Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. No, I think Mason Rudolph has rightfully earned his spot as the quarterback one for the Steelers. But there are other players to look out for, such as Justin Fields. Someone who, yeah, the numbers haven't been that great, but I mean, the situation he's been in is terrible. It's not good either. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on what the Bears want to do. If I were the Chicago Bears, I wouldn't trade Justin Fields away. I would even try to trade away the 1 pick, and build around Justin Fields because I feel like he's a heck of an athlete. I feel like he has a lot of potential, man. A lot of potential to be a franchise. The franchise, But Chicago hasn't really done a good job building around him. And my point of view is like, okay, you go to Justin Fields to Caleb Williams, but you still aren't building around him. So is there really anything going to change? I wouldn't think so. But there are rumors of them potentially trading Justin Fields. I would. I think that's a very doable trade. How much would they want for him? I don't know. I know it's going to be probably at least a first or a second round pick, maybe multiple second round picks or something like that. But I think it's very doable. Um, you got to take a chance. I think the Steelers have to take a chance this offseason in one aspect or in one position or something like that. They have to take some sort of a risk because they're really not too far off from being a true Super Bowl contender. It's really just little pieces that they need to just fix up, that they need to tweak up in order to be a true top contender in the AFC, which sounds crazy because how stacked the AFC is, but I mean, they had the defense, just certain things that they need to tweak up. But Justin Fields, that would be one of my big ones to get. Russell Wilson's another name. Me personally, I wouldn't want to try to get Russell Wilson if I were the Steelers, only because he has more years behind him than he does in front of him. So, I mean, if I'm the Steelers, man, I'm looking for the franchise. I'm not looking for, hey, how about for the next couple seasons? No, I'm looking for the next 5, 10 seasons from now. Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be it? And it's not going to be Russell Wilson because, I mean, like I said, he has more years behind him than he does in front of him. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. I know he's been thrown in the mix as well. More years behind him than he does in front of him. Am I saying that it wouldn't work? No, it could potentially work. Russell Wilson has been a really solid quarterback. Maybe not the past 2 seasons. Actually, he didn't do too bad this past season, but he's probably not the same Russell Wilson. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. He has been a pretty solid quarterback, Maybe not this past season because of injury, but he does have that history to be solid, But that's not going to be your franchise there. That's my thing. That's not going to be your franchise. And my number one guy that I would try to get, number one, is in the draft, actually. Okay? So the Steelers would have to trade up in the draft. I'm assuming. I would just assume. Because on the depth chart, I believe he's number 4. Predicted to be number 4. The 4th quarterback to be taken in the draft. And that is Penix from Washington. Okay? That guy, I think he should have won the Heisman. Really solid quarterback. He's got a good arm. I don't know. I like his leadership, everything like that. He has gotten injured. It seems pretty frequently, but I mean, maybe that's the reason why he's not higher on the list. But I think it's good enough to try to take a chance on it. He could win. He was able to win in college. I get he fell short in the national championship, but I mean, he led Washington to a 13 or 14-0 season up until that point. So that would be one of the guys I would really try to get if they don't think that Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett is the guy. Which, like I said, I'm more in a believer of Mason Rudolph at this point than I am of Kenny Pickett. And I really want Kenny Pickett to be the guy. Okay? It's a great story. He went to Pitt, played at Heinz Field, at that same stadium in his college years, and now he's playing at that stadium in the pros. So it really is a good story, man. I really want Kenny Pickett to be the guy, but with the numbers and all, it just doesn't look like it's gonna happen, man. Especially when you have guys like Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud. What? There's so many good quarterbacks in the AFC, and look, man, to have Kenny Pickett, it just doesn't sound like, I don't know, but there's a lot of competition in the AFC, and it only seems like it's getting better somehow. like I said, the Texans have really emerged into a top team in the AFC, and I do think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. For years to come. But yeah, I would like them to try to get Penix. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Honestly, do I expect them to really do much with the quarterback position this offseason? Not really. I think they're just going to try to get Mason Rudolph back, maybe cut Trubisky, and I don't know, maybe shop around for another low budget quarterback. I guess. I don't know. Because it seems like they're going to try to give Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett one more shot, which I'm not 100% against, but I don't think that's the best option there, because like I said, this particular offseason, it seems like there's a lot of options for the quarterback position, and to just stick with Kenny Pickett, I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. I don't know. And there are a few other pieces to build on. Um, Cornerback position, I think that's one of the things that they need to work on. Just to accommodate Joey Porter Jr. You could even try to move Patrick Peterson to safety. He was actually playing some pretty solid ball when he was at the safety position. So cornerback, I mean, like I said, the only one that really stands out right now is Joey Porter Jr. So um, that would certainly help to get another quarterback to a corner back to accommodate him. Um, yeah, maybe the offensive line coach. There's certain things. Look, I've heard people say that there's a lot of things that the Steelers need to take care of. But at the end of the day, it's like no team is going to have a perfect team. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the Niners team, like, they kind of struggle with, I forgot what they say. I don't watch Niner games too much, so I forgot what he said. But the team's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be flaws in every team. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's always going to be some sort of flaw, some sort of weakness, if you will, in a team. Okay, so it's not like the Steelers are going to be. It's not like they're going to build a team and all of a sudden they're perfect. Like, no, there's always going to be some sort of flaw in their game because, I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, the Niners almost lost to the 7th seed Packers. I thought that was crazy. But yeah, sure, there's plenty of more needs, if you will, for the Steelers, but I feel like the most important one is obviously the offensive coordinator, which should be taken care of no matter what. Quarterback position, cornerbacks, and yeah, man, try to beef up that old line. In my honest opinion, they're really not too far off. There's just certain moves that need to be done in order for them to be true contenders. And I think those ones are it. And maybe I'm wrong. But that's just what I see. That is what I see. And I know the Steelers have kind of struggled with protecting the run. Or not protecting the run. Against the run. The defense has struggled against the run. So they could try to work on that. That'd be helpful. But yeah, man, I think this is kind of a make or break thing for the Steelers. It's either, hey, we're gonna be in the same exact position next season, or they could try to build themselves up and actually look like a true contender in the AFC. So we'll see. It's either something changes, it's either they're better or they're the same. That's how I see it. So we'll see. The offseason should be very interesting for the Steelers. Hopefully they make the right moves. I'm really hoping they do, man. Especially for the offensive coordinator and the quarterback position. Because those are your two needs right now. And look, they could even try to trade Deontay Johnson in order to gain more draft capital if they want. Because, I mean, For some reason, I don't know what's been going on with Deontay. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like he hasn't been performing as well, it seems like. And just costly penalties and things of that nature, and he's one of the veterans on the offense. So I don't know what they're going to try to do there. I don't know if they're actually going to try to trade him. I doubt it. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it should be interesting. I'll definitely keep tabs on it. But if I remember how to speak English, other than that one, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Go Steelers.